So if you've played Popup Dungeon before, you know that it can make a roguelite or a tactical RPG with no problems. But it can also make interactive fictions. Today we're going to take a look at Dating Simulator, just one step at a time. So we're going to go back and forth to give you a behind-the-scenes look to show you how you can make your own dating simulator. But hopefully this will give you an idea on how you can make any interactive fiction. So right away, we're going to notice that we got some stats here. So I'm going to hop out and we're going to see how that's done. You can start by setting your stats. These can be anything that you come up with, and you can set them to any value that you'd like. Here we're setting them to a range between 1 and 5, so that's up to the creator. So after we've set our stats, we can choose to improve ourselves, or we can go try to meet someone. Right now we have 4 cash, so that's pretty good. We're going to try to improve ourselves. Let's look at our stats. So right now our fitness is a little low. We can try to improve our fitness. So I'm going to take a closer look at how this is set up here. You can see that these gold-plated nodes are roles. They're called challenges. So I'm going to try to see if I can work up my cardio. Roll the dice, and yep, I was successful. And right there, I'm going to gain super speed, and I gain 1 fitness. So there goes my fitness is up. Or let's take a look at how that's done. So what we're looking at here is the entire branching graph for that decision, but we're going to focus on just what we did, which is fitness. So here I'm going to set myself sweaty. That's a flag that I created. You can create any flag that you can come up with. So you become sweaty when you do cardio. And if you're successful, I'm basically just linking this through. This chain follows through. And so if you're successful, you gain 1 fitness. If you're not successful, you intended to hop on a treadmill, but you ended up on a hammock instead. Don't you hate when that happens? So you don't gain any fitness. And in fact, you could lose fitness if you wanted to. I can do that by breaking this link here and reconnecting it and setting the value as negative instead. So now I'm losing 1 fitness, or I'm gaining 1 fitness. This would be a little bit tougher, so let's just backspace that out of there. And as you can see, the links are preserved there. We'll just chill and not lose any fitness. Next, we're going to try to meet somebody. So we're out on the prowl. And we met Layla this time. Actually, we're going to be looking for Claire, but I'll just go ahead and cut to that. I'm going to show you how we handle the meeting. So the meeting is done with a random. Now, it's set to dynamic. That means that every time this random is executed, it's going to be different. So we have a 50-50 chance. Since we're just picking one, we have a 50-50 chance to come into this branch or this branch. So here you can start seeing how we can do programming pretty much without any coding at all. Because the next thing that happens if we go this way is a check to see if we're sweaty or not. So if you remember, if we did our cardio and we didn't bathe afterwards, it turns out that we're just going to need deodorant. You can set your own image and your own sound. And it tells you, someone needs to program deodorant, please. If we went this way, we'd eat our Jell-O alone. So we're sadly slurping our Jell-O here without a date. But if we come this way and we've managed to bathe ourselves properly and we've gotten lucky, we can meet one of the 3 girls, or women rather, that we're trying to meet here. And actually, we're going to go through Claire's branch here in a second. So we can actually jump to that. So here we've met Claire. We're praying at the church in the colorful rays of stained glass windows when a flaxen-haired priestess passes us by. We look up into Claire. That was fast. She chuckles, and you end up acquiring her most sacred of digits. So next I'm going to show you how to do this. There's a counter up here. This is day number 2. It gives us our stats and tells us that we're out of cash. So this is what that looks like. One of the nice things that you can do here is you can use these little tags here. This is F:time, and that's just based on the time flag that I created. You can create any flag that you want. If we're looking at time here, I'm going to show you that it is a shown, not hidden flag. You can hide the flags as well. You can choose the icon, you can set a description, and you can even add categories. So if we look at some of our stats here, they actually have a category of stats so that they'll be arranged neatly in that little menu at the bottom of the screen. What you can do with them is just say F for flag, colon, and then the name of your flag, and it'll display that number instead of, this text here. You can also use rich text. So here you can see in the day number, I'm increasing the size, and I'm also underlining it. And if I'm sweaty, that's what this check is for, it'll, in italics, tell me that I'm sweaty and that I need a shower, whereas it won't if I'm not. But next, let's try to actually go on a date with Claire. So once we've met Claire, we can actually give her a call. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna dial. And if we had met multiple girls, then we could choose which one we're going to call. So she says, "Hark, who calls me through my magic mirror?" "Hi, Claire, it's Mason." "Indeed, and what of it?" So since I have worked my plumbing job, I have 4 coins weighing my pouch. I can take her shopping, or I can just go on a date. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll take her shopping. She says, "You can bet your immortal soul I would." So now we're going to see how that call went, how dialogue works. So this is how the entirety of the call dialogue looks, because there are multiple girls that you can call. You can call a waitress, which eventually, if you don't have enough faction, will just, when you tell her your name, she doesn't remember you and asks if you have a reservation or if you're picking up an order, and eventually passes you to the manager. So you need to work up your faction with her more. You can call Layla. You have a chance here of having her answer or not. And here with Claire, you have the dialogue that we went through. So with all dialogue, you're able to select the person speaking. You can set image overrides, you can set sounds, and you can also set emotions. So for instance, let's say that we wanted to make this dialogue when Claire says, "Ah, then my day is brightened. I wonder what the night will hold." She can be happy. So we can set her emotion to happy. And if that speaker has those emotions set, then it'll automatically display her happy image there. As you can see, during dialogue, you can also set flags. So here we're setting the date to 3. That means that this system, when it comes out of it, will know that if the date is 3, we go to Claire's date. So I can press G to go there. And now we're at Claire's date. So let's see how that actually goes, and we'll come back here to look at how it's done. So here's the beginning of my date with Claire. I'm gonna pick her up at the stoop of the church. She says, "I'm looking forward to trading your coin for frivolous objects." Well, at least she's straightforward about it. And she said that because I actually had promised her a shopping trip. And so now I can choose what I'm gonna do. I can take her dancing, I can take her shopping, or I can take her micro bowling or full-on, full-scale bowling. So let's see what happens if I take her micro bowling and not make good on my promise to take her shopping. Well, first off, I failed at bowling already, or at micro bowling, that is. So I missed the ramp entirely. That's not going to win me any points. And then she's disappointed because I didn't take her shopping. So as you can see here, I don't have any record of what my faction is with her. This is because that flag is hidden, but we can go back and see what actually happened. So if we went micro bowling and we fail, we lose 1 faction with Claire, and then we lose 3 faction with Claire if she's disappointed because we didn't take her shopping. So that was a really bad move on my part, and now my faction is in the negative with Claire, so I won't be reaching the end game anytime soon. But since we're the developers of this game, let's go ahead and see what would happen if we played our cards right and got to that end game. Well, you can tell any story you want. You can use the story nodes, you can use the dialogue nodes, and you can also use full screen images with subtitles to create your own sort of slideshows or comic book-like cutscenes. Anything you want to do, you can do it that way. And of course, you can also leverage the actual game for your games. So you don't have to just make interactive fictions. You can make a combination of interactive fictions and tactical RPGs. So here we are trying to take Claire on a romantic date in the woods. But first off, we're getting trolled. Looks like somebody else showed up to help us fight, at least. And we're taking on half centaurs, gnolls, mercenaries, kobolds, or pretty much any other thing that your imagination can come up with. And one last thing that I'd like to show is this really convenient way of creating a screenplay file. So I can say create screenplay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Claire from this list. So after I've selected Claire, what I can actually do is have it highlighted any way that I want. What's going to happen is I'm going to create a screenplay file, which will export an HTML, which is just a text that's going to be formatted for you. That is properly indented. It'll only include dialogue that has Claire in it, and there it will also highlight it for the potential voice actress that would do Claire's part. You would also be able to see any text that is repeated italicized, so that they don't have to record it multiple times unless you instruct them to, because maybe there's just different situations, so it requires different emotional deliveries. So this is a really, really nice way to get all of the potential dialogue that could come from a lot of different branches and everything, put it all in one place, and immediately send it to your voice actors or voice actresses. It makes it a lot easier to work with. It saves you tons of time. And that's pretty much how you make a simple dating simulator. Of course, you can get a lot more in depth than this, but this gives you a framework on how you can sort of make it happen. Game design is hard, but it's never been easier. This makes it so that you don't need to know programming to get started, and you can get going right away.